Yep, it's that time. It's time for another hog roast with our favorite sex pig, Jason Blaha. Woo! Let's do this. Roast. I know it's been a while. I did say I'd do it, so here we go. Gonna do two roasts for today. We're gonna have two BitChute roasts today. First one is gonna be on this current events. Clickbait. Jason Blaha's clickbait video on Elliot Atwell coaching scandal. Now, I don't know anything about this. I don't know who Elliot Atwell is. But a lot of my subs have been sort of saying, can you do a video on it? Can you cover this? So I haven't watched this video. We're just going to watch it together, and we're going to try and pick up some of the nonsense that Jason Blaha comes out with. So it seems all a bit sort of, there's lots of homoerotic undertone by the sound of things from what I gather. So let's have a little listen and see what we can come up with.
Time for current events in the online fitness community, and yes, I do these very, very rarely these days. However, this one kind of hit a little bit close to home because when we're dealing with this Elliot Atwood situation, another coach friend of mine sent this to me.
What's he mean another coach friend? Like what? He's a coach. Jason Blaha is not a fucking coach. He's never been a coach. He's never gonna be a coach. He has no qualifications in coaching or anything. He is just another wannabe. He's a wannabe. That's all he ever has been. He doesn't even know how to train properly. Just watch his videos. It's disgusting. We'll be getting to them in the next video. We're gonna fucking rip him apart on this. He does not know how to train. That's it. Because the results speak for themselves. And the lack of results speak for themselves.
And we were both like, this name sounds familiar when we heard the scandal break. And it's because he used to frequent another circle that we used to frequent on Facebook that I've actually cut out.
A circle on Facebook, like a circle jerk on Facebook. I mean, what does he even... Sounds like a woman. Yeah, it sounds like a woman. You know, I've said this 1,000 times. Facebook is for kids... to do a bit of cyberbullying, and for women to just spy on their friends. That is all I am convinced it's for. Any man like this who's obsessed with Facebook is really behaving like a woman, if you ask me. Instagram, yeah, that's okay for guys, I think, personally. And YouTube, great. Think of the late, great Rich Piana. They were what he did. Yeah, Instagram, YouTube. That's how he built his little empire before he went. Yeah, that's how he did it. Yeah, I remember him saying, you know, because I still watch old Rich Piana videos, especially when I'm training, just to get inspired. And I remember him saying, you know, he hasn't got time for Facebook. Because Facebook's too bitchy, catty. It's every negative part of what a woman has, which is, you know, just bitchy, catty, backstabbing, you know, spying on your friends, making sure they're not being too successful and they're not happy. Because that's what people want. They want you to be happy and successful, just not as happy or as successful as they are, and certainly not more happy and more successful. It's just nature, and that nature seems to be a bit more prone in women and homosexual men. And that's really why he loves Facebook so much. And the fact that he's involved in these little groups, and they're called the cage, the dungeon. I mean, you know, come on. This guy is a fucking, just a raving homosexual. And he's in the closet, quite figuratively in this video. He's back in the closet. Raving homosexual. G for P all through him. And yeah, just absolutely disgusting degenerate. That is what he is.
My other coach friend still runs in that whole circle of people that he used to be there, and it was kind of really a goofy group for fitness enthusiasts and stuff, and it has its own set of problems called the cage. But I don't frequent that group at all anymore and haven't in many, many years. So he actually used to be.
He doesn't frequent. He probably got kicked out of that. He gets kicked out of every other fucking group he's involved in, doesn't he? Because he's such a weird, fucking sleazy freak. You know, sending dick pics to little boys and all the rest of it. I mean, the guy's a sicko.
There. And that's where the name sounded familiar. But this guy has been coaching people, and the reason this hits home for me also is because I'm an online coach, and stuff like this.
Not a coach, an online coach. How shit is that? Too shit to be a coach, a real coach. No qualification, so he does online coaching. Right, if you were gonna hire someone and they did whatever it is, and they say, right, you've got two candidates. One went to university and studied, yeah, and the other one did online study. What is, just in the real world, I know there's a lot of people that have done a lot of good with online studying, yeah, because they're working another job and all that. I know that. I'm not that stupid and I'm not that prejudiced. But, if you're looking for a coach, would you like a real coach or an online coach? Would you like a real coach that can actually really, give you a lot of good information, point out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong? Would you want some, tweak it, actually get hands on and say, right, spot for you, try and push you, all that stuff? A real coach or an online coach who's going to send you emails, FaceTime you. Ooh. I mean, he really does, in every aspect of his dog shit life, he really does take the laziest, easiest route to anything, doesn't he? Online coach. He's the kind of cunt that would go to the back of these old magazines, where you can do these online black belt sort of, learn to be a black belt in some fucking karate online course. An online black belt. Be a black belt in 6 weeks. That's where he got his 2 fucking black belts, in the back of a magazine or something. Become a black belt with a home study course in Kung Fu. Online black belt in 6 weeks. I mean, this is as far as his credentials go. There are none. Absolute fucking idiot. And anyway, so we're only a minute in. We haven't even got to the meat of this subject, and we're already roasting hard.
Really, really makes online coaching look bad. It creates problems. Again, it makes it look.
I mean, everything he says. I don't even know this guy, Elliot Atwell, but I bet he must. I'm sure he has at least one qualification. Yeah? So, the fact that Blaha and his silly t-shirt and he's a grown man looking like an absolute idiot, you can imagine him at the back of the bus, can't you? The short bus, licking the window or something. Look at him. Waving at the little kids as he's fucking been driven down to the mental hospital. I mean, this guy says other people give online coaching a bad name. The very fact that this clown tells people he's an online coach is enough to give online coaching a bad name. Anything or anyone associated with this fucking idiot, you got no reputation that's worth having. I mean, anyone. Yeah, can you imagine saying, oh yeah, I'm good friends with Jason Blaha? I mean, no one would talk to you. I mean, guilty by association. You'd be fucking shunned and shamed if you said, Jason Blaha is my coach. Jason Blaha. I mean, come on. I mean, the fucking idiot. I mean, he's sitting there, he's doing the same shit every day. You know, we got a coronavirus pandemic. You look at Jerry Ward's videos, yeah? You look at anyone's videos, all the people that this piece of shit slagged off in the past and tried to criticize. You know, they're making videos now. Jerry Ward, a lot of the guys are sort of training from home now and setting up little mini gyms at home because the world has changed. But not Jason Blaha's world. Not Jason Blaha's world. His shitty little world has always been shit, and now it's just as shit. His world hasn't changed. You know, it's ridiculous that this loser, I mean, look, everything is exactly the same. I know this is from the 15th of March, which is 11 days ago, but his current videos haven't changed. The clothes are the same. The look is the same. The shit that's in his room, unwashed, untouched, not sanitary, you know, no cleaning's been done. You can see that by the soles of his feet. They're filthy when he's doing his silly little dips or whatever he's doing. Yeah, I mean, nothing has changed in this scumbag's life. The world around him, the real world, has changed drastically. Gyms are closed, everything's closed. But this loser's tiny, pathetic, shitty little life remains tiny, pathetic, and shitty. I mean, it's quite interesting to watch, actually. And we're going to get into the training side of things in a minute, because he's still doing the same shit. Let's continue just for a little bit longer.
Look bad. It makes it harder for people who are trying to earn their living doing this, and I know a lot of people who do. I have a lot of friends who do online coaching also at this point. We compare notes and how we do things. We discuss this stuff with each other because we're all doing it as a business endeavor.
I mean, you know, the very fact that there's mass unemployment and it's going to get more and more and more, unfortunately. You know, the government's sending out checks, you know, certainly the US government. In May, everyone's getting $1,200, something like that, $1,400, something like that. And it's going to be in May. A lot of people are going to be struggling. And if we are to try and believe, just for a moment, take a leap of faith, go into the world of fantasy, and imagine for a minute that Jason Blaha is a coach online and he is making money, $250 or $200 a month. Well, that's going to dry up pretty quick, isn't it? You know, so his 20 clients are now struggling for money like everyone else in the world. The main priorities in everyone's life at the minute are food. Yeah, this is a strange, fucked up situation we find ourselves in, but we are all struggling for food, bills. We don't know whether we can pay them or not, all this stuff. Yeah, this is the nature of what's actually happening. This is the reality that we're faced now. Yeah. So the very bottom of the list is going to have, you know, is going to be this thing, this fat, ugly piece of shit that pretends he's a coach. Yeah. So if we are to try and imagine, stretch our imaginations and imagine that he has got some clients that are paying him $200, $250 a month, they're not going to be paying for very long, are they? So let's hope that he has got some and he really starts to feel the pinch as those clients decide to cancel. Personally, I don't think it's true. I don't think we're going to see his lifestyle change anymore because it hasn't changed yet and it won't change because it's so shit. Anyway, I really don't want to drag this out much longer. This is a 15-minute video already. We're only a minute in. I know he talked about some gay for pay shit here at some point.
Let's come back over to the point. Women don't care about this stuff that much. Who does? Dudes. Other dudes. Dudes who like other dudes, they're going to check your body out. Then you have to live with that. You get into the lifting game, I can tell you guys, anyone who says, well, I've never been hit on by other dudes, well, you're not that jacked then. Because if you get pretty jacked, if you get big enough that people think you're a bodybuilder in public, whether you're a bodybuilder or not, you're going to deal with it. And that's normal. You're going to have to live with that.
Now, I've been in very good shape in my youth, yeah, and in my 20s and early 30s, and I got into business and all that stuff, and got into I was married, and life changes. So your priorities change, and just the aesthetics of looking a certain way, they change. They don't become a priority when you have a real business to run, and 18 staff and all that sort of stuff. So, and you lose your gains, as it were. But I have had a good body, and you get a few gay guys saying things to you, but you don't have to, encourage it or anything like that. You just say thank you and move on. But you get a lot of women, shitload of women, too many women. Trust me, too many women. Sort of almost throwing themselves at you. Quite literally throwing themselves at you. On a plate. Take me. Trust me. But he only ever talks about men. Men on men. Men on men. Man on man action. That's all he ever talks about. Looks like he's thinking about the first time he was violated here when old Unky Mike fucking roughly took him from behind. That is a face of, just remembering the fear as his fucking arsehole was torn up by Uncle Mike going in dry. Anyway, let's just listen to more of his homosexual fantasies, and then we'll pull this one and pull it to a close.
And here's the thing. That's what you see in the aesthetics industry. Okay? That's what you see in the whole aesthetics industry, and we've seen other scandals with some of these Gymshark crew type guys and whatever else names are out there. Just watch what goes on and watch what happens just the way they get together and do stuff. Notice it's never about girls. Never about girls, it's always the bros hanging out.
What's he talking about? When I was hitting it hard, hitting the gym hard, back when I was 21, even my job back then was involved in looking a certain way, it was all about women. When I was 20-something, it was all about women. In my 20s up to my 30s, it was all about women. 19 to 30, all about women. So, the fact that this clown is just obsessed with homosexuals, men on men, it just screams that he is a homosexual, a fucking raving, rampant homosexual man that will not admit it. That's it. If he came out and said, "All right, boys, I'm gay, I love to suck a cock," if he came out and said that, we'd be okay. Okay, let's talk about him killing his dead dog. We'd move on. Yeah. We'd move on to the next subject. Let's talk about his stolen valor. We'd move on. We wouldn't mention the fact that he's in the closet and he sends dick pics to young boys and all the rest of it. We wouldn't mention that he's a homosexual man because it would be out there. But the fact that he pretends to be straight and hanging around with tall blondes and all this stuff, Marcia Stubing, he's a fucking homo. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. If that's what you want to do it, but be open about it. Don't sneak around in the dark. Don't entice young men in that think you're being genuine and you're not homosexual and you're not going to hit on them, and then you hit on them. Yeah? There are some gay guy. I knew a gay guy, a long time ago. I knew a gay guy that would only hit on straight guys because it turned him on to try and turn them, And this is the fucking deviant shit that goes through this fucker's mind, So let's just run it a little bit more because we've got to pull this one to a close.
Okay. That's what it's about. It's about homies over hoes. Right? When you get into that aesthetics lifestyle, you guys are thinking it's one thing. It's not, man. It's homies over hoes, bros. There doesn't even necessarily need to be any women involved. But that's usually what you see in all this stuff.
So he compensates so hard, and he uses the fact that he looks like shit and he's not involved in the aesthetics game to prove to prove that he is straight. Oh, see, I'm straight because I look like shit. If I was a homosexual, I'd be jacked. That's his rationale. That's what he thinks. Yeah, he thinks that the fact that he looks like shit means that he can't be gay because only gay men are buff and ripped and aesthetic. I mean, that's his twisted logic. I mean, it's quite something, really. I mean, the world and the mind of Jason Blaha is a very disturbing sort of place to be, which is why I don't go there as much these days. And besides which, the world has changed. There's far more important things to be talking about than some freak. You know, that's the only way to describe him. He's an obscure, insignificant fucking fool of a man who tries to entice young men into sending him dick pics. That is what his thing is. So desperate. You know, pretending to be a coach when clearly he's not. You know, and the fact that he has to hide behind the fact he looks like shit to prove that he's not homosexual is just remarkable.
And that by that same token, you will see predatory behavior. And that goes in all directions. You see predatory behavior from photographers, you see it from coaches and other people with the guys, and then by that same token with the girls, you see the same thing. Fitness models, even models in general, because again, due to someone I was involved with, I was around a lot of models for a while. A lot of models.
He reckons he was going out with a model. He used to be a male model, didn't he? He doesn't mention that now, does he? Doesn't mention he used to be a male model. Now he just says he implies that he was banging a male model. Probably was a male model, but he's implying that he was banging a model now. I mean, god damn, this guy's a fucking joke on every level, isn't he?
And you hear stories and you see stuff.
That's it. That's all he does. He hears stories. And then he tries to insert himself into that world in his imagination. Everything is fucking fantasy with this clown. Anyway, I don't know if we covered the real subject there. I don't know, but we bounced around a bit. Again, this guy is an absolute fucking fool of a person. Most definitely 100% homosexual in the closet. And, you know, anyone taking this guy seriously, anyone associating with this clown, well, you just need to really reassess your life. So I hope that was informative. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell a family. This is on BitChute, so please go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it, please, because a lot of people are watching the videos, but they're not subscribing. So please subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you guys next time.